Hey there. With this one, I feel like we're talking about a specific type of spiritual gift analogous to discernment and how to best utilize that. So, I've got some cards here. If this interests you, feel free to stick around and we will see what comes out. We have Bellflower, Gratitude, Peony, Prosperity and Compassion, and Hibiscus, Beauty and Happiness. So with this kind of being like a spiritual gift, and they're telling me something that is maybe not perceived as such, but very much connected to discernment. I think that like you have an eye for the finer things in life, not necessarily in like a materialistic way, but this sense of, like what you find beautiful, what you find compatible, what you find acceptable to you and your energy. And I think that there may have been times that people like misperceived that as like ingratitude, like, oh, you're so specific about what you want, or you want something that's very high quality, it must mean that you don't appreciate all these other things. But I think it's actually the opposite. I think that you have like a lot of genuine gratitude and like genuine appreciation for the things that make you happy. You just also have a very keen eye for what that is. So I think like it's very important that you utilize this ability properly, rather than telling yourself that, you need to settle for something that's less than what you want. Almost like seeing that gift as the ability to very precisely visualize what it is that you want as a tool for manifestation. Because we have the Ace of Wands, the Queen of Cups, and the Wheel of Fortune. And this kind of tells me that it's like your part is to be like this Queen of Cups. And she's very gracious, like very emotionally tuned in. But I think the way that you become emotionally tuned in is by acknowledging what it is that you need to feel emotionally stable. And with that Ace of Wands and the Wheel of Fortune, it's kind of like you existing in a state where you feel balanced, where you feel supportive, where you feel open emotionally and receptive to the energies around you. That's when the universe creates like these little sparks, these little moments of magic that kind of like pull you in and allow you to actually get the things that you want, potentially in unexpected ways. With the Wheel of Fortune, that kind of like always gives me a little bit of, it's in the universe's hands, but may come together in like surprising ways. Definitely not the way that you planned it. But, there's something here about like, if you aren't in a place where you're balanced enough emotionally to be like open to those unexpected shifts, if you're just like locked into beating yourself up for wanting something different and settling for something that doesn't actually like leave you feeling emotionally settled, I think that like it's a lot more likely to pass you by and have you in this headspace where you're considering this gift to be a negative, or to be like something that you need to compensate for, or something that is, wrong with you. When in reality, it's just like your energy knows what it needs, and it knows it very specifically. It's like they're giving me the example of like a kid who is, you have like two toddlers, say, and one of them can say like hungry, food, like a few like basic words, and the other one comes up and is like, mother, can I please have some artichokes and garlic bread? Like so specific. And in this sort of like metaphor here, it's like, suppose both kids actually wanted the same food, but one kid has the ability to articulate it, and then they get it. And the other kid, the mom doesn't know what they want. So it's like, okay, well, I'll give you some mac and cheese. And then, the other kid doesn't actually get what they want, and they aren't as happy because they don't have the ability to articulate that. And in that case, I think it makes it very evident that this is not a flaw. This is not a flaw. This can be framed, I think, in a negative way. If, for example, you are turning around and, you know, like, say in a partnership, you want someone who is emotionally intelligent and, you know, has a strong sense of integrity. And you're with someone who does not have any awareness of their own emotions, you know, doesn't have any kind of inherent moral fiber. In that instance, you know, I think where this could turn bad is if you tell yourself, like, I have to continue staying with this person that is clearly not what I want, but I'm going to keep doing that and keep hoping that they change and keep hoping that they change, or keep telling myself, I don't want what I want, I don't want what I want. That's like not really like the positive manifestation of this gift. Because especially with the Ace of Wands, Wheel of Fortune, I think that, you know, for you to get what you want, to get what like really sustains and fulfills you, is going to be, you know, potentially accepting the idea of, you know, new opportunities and surprising shifts. And I think kind of like segueing into this next little row of cards where we have the Hangman, Judgment, and the Nine of Wands, I think that like acknowledging this as a gift may also cause you to realize some situations that you've kind of been like hanging on to for longer than maybe you needed to. It may call attention to the situations in which, you know, you want what you want and you can't really change that. But also, you know, the situations where you've kind of been hoping for the situation to change because you can't change what you want. Or, you know, conversely, situations that have stayed the same where you are constantly berating yourself and telling yourself that someday you're going to wake up and want something different. I don't think that you are. I think that that internal sense here is not the problem. I think that that's actually tuned in better than you know. So what is it right now? What's something that you've been wanting or hoping for and you should not be compromising on? I kind of want to know. Ten of Cups, Page of Swords, the Fool, Two of Swords. So one of the like the confirmations here, there's something about sharing a life with someone. I'm kind of drawn to, you know, on this version of the Ten of Cups, there's usually like adult and child figures on the Ten of Cups, but in this case, there's like a very kind of like familial vibe here where, you know, one of these hippo people, I don't really know what to call them, they're kind of both anthropomorphic hippos, is, you know, like taking care of the other, while the other individual here looks on. And I think that there's something here about the way that you define family and the way that you define support within a familial unit. And that could be someone, you know, who's looking at a situation and saying, like, I want a husband or partner who takes an active role in child rearing. Or it could be someone who's looking at a situation and saying, you know, I want someone who really like prioritizes our family unit and is not going to, you know, allow friends or extended family or mother-in-law or whoever else to impact like the decisions that we make within this family unit. But I think that whatever that is with this Page of Swords and Two of Swords, this is something that you've talked about. Whether it's something you've talked about, like if you have like a current partner, or, you know, you've talked about with your friends, or, you know, like something that you have talked about and, you know, kind of felt some level of like uncertainty about asking for. You know, like this sense of, oh, well, I don't want to tell my partner, you know, how to relate to their family or friends or well, I don't want to be asking for too much in terms of support, but it's like, despite that indecision, this is something that you've come back to. This is something that you've come back to, and you've gone around in your head trying to convince yourself that, well, maybe I don't need this, or, maybe this is not a big deal. And I think that the reason why is, like, with this Fool card, that this is something that is a little bit new to you. Whether you grew up in a family that was very enmeshed and, everyone kind of had the ability to influence everyone else's relationships, life choices, or whether, you have historically been in relationships where the support was, like, very one-sided, or, not provided in the ways that you needed. This kind of structure that we're looking at that is more helpful to you, more natural to you, is something that is new. And I think that there's sometimes this sense of, well, is it real? Kind of like the devil that you know is better than the devil that you don't. But in this case, I think that, it's not necessarily a case of, like, the devil that you don't know, because you're looking at a situation that is new. And Six of Wands, I think, is going to go better than you perhaps anticipate. Queen of Wands and the Fool 2.0. Well, I love that we now have the Fool over the Fool 2.0. The Fool 2.0 is a card that's unique to this deck in that it comes after all of the major arcana and represents starting over again, at the beginning, but this time with all of the experience and knowledge that the Fool gains through the journey in the major arcana. And so I think that this is almost like saying, like, this is a sense of, like, practice in asking for specifically what you want and then getting it, and then going and saying, what else can I ask for? Not it all in a way that is like, oh, you're so greedy, you're asking for so much, but, like, realizing, I think that when you are getting what you want, especially in this context of whatever it is that you're looking for in this relationship, the kind of support, the kind of, relationship autonomy, the kind of balance or structure, roles, whatever it is, I think that you're going to find that getting that actually does a lot for you and your confidence. I kind of like that in this Nine of Wands, where I was talking about you kind of, like, being in a lot of situations that don't match up to what you want, that are, kind of difficult, that have been wearing on you for a while. Coming into that awareness, we have this Lioness who looks like she's kind of just fed up with everybody's shit. But in this Queen of Wands over here, where I'm talking about, like, you getting what it is that you want and then feeling empowered by that, we also have a Lioness, but instead of being worn out, she's here sitting on her throne, being admired and elevated, because I think that what you want is not something that you want for the sake of being unreasonable or demanding or whatever else. It's something that you want because it fulfills you. And you may not fully realize this. You may have been telling yourself, oh, I'm selfish, so then if I get what I want, I'll be more selfish. But actually, it's like when you get what you want, it's like that provides you with the foundation and the energy to move forward with greater knowledge, with greater confidence, with greater passion, with greater experience. And I think that there's something about you realizing that there are a lot of, like, avenues in your life that you can customize, almost like through your manifestations. Because, like, this sense of knowing, this sense of discernment, this eye and this precise understanding of what it is that you want doesn't just apply to one area in life. It may feel focused on that right now because there's been so much that you've been undergoing in this area that has been very vastly misaligned. But I think that there's like more and more, like, subtle shifts and, customizations and ways that you can create a life that is yours, wholly, entirely, sustainably yours. And, getting to do that, it's like the experience compounds, it builds on itself. And I think the more that you do this, the more that you realize it's not about being selfish. It's not about being, particular or demanding. It's about this clear, oh, there's sirens. I don't know if you can hear that. This clear, crystal clear, razor sharp sense of, I know what makes me happy. I know what I need. I know who I am. And that's something that I think is going to be seen and admired by a lot of people, and is going to serve you well in a lot of ways. So hopefully that's helpful to someone, and best of luck out there.